How's it going, everybody? My name is LuckyBunz, and in today's video, we're going to be breaking down Timburr Community Day in Pokemon Go. Now, with that being said, as always, if you guys do end up enjoying this video, if you do find it helpful, please make sure to smash that like button down below. It helps me out a ton with the YouTube algorithm. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Now, Timburr Community Day is going to take place on October 15th from 2 to 5 p.m. your local time. The bonuses are going to be as follows. Like normal, we're going to have 3-hour lure modules and incense. The special bonus is going to be 3 times catch Stardust. Super hyped about that one. We're also going to get 2 times catch candy and a 2 times chance to receive extra large candy from catching Pokemon if you are level 31 or higher. Additionally, on top of that, we're also going to get an extra special trade during the event hour, so anytime between 2 to 10 p.m. And every trade that you do is also going to cost 50% less Stardust, so really awesome time to take advantage of trading. Not to mention, Conkeldurr is one of those trade evolution Pokemon, so if you trade a Timburr with a friend, it's going to still cost you candy to evolve it into Gurdurr, but when you evolve it into Conkeldurr, you won't actually have to use 200 candy, you'll just get a free evolution, so it's really beneficial to take advantage of trades during this comm day. And then finally, we're going to get 5 free Timburr from snapshots. Now, the exclusive moveset on Conkeldurr during this comm day is going to be Brutal Swing, and you're going to have from 2 to 10 p.m. to evolve your Conkeldurr to get it with this moveset. Now, you might be asking yourself, though, how good is Brutal Swing on Conkeldurr? Well, according to the simulations, this is more of an alternative moveset as opposed to having Stone Edge. Typically, your ideal moveset would be Counter plus Dynamic Punch and Stone Edge. In this case, now you have the option of going Brutal Swing as well. Now, we're going to take a look at this more in detail, going over Great League, Ultra League, and Master League very specifically because I did run the simulations, and it's actually worth noting which matchups it takes with Stone Edge over Brutal Swing and vice versa. So we'll definitely go into that a little bit more in detail here in a second. Before we actually dive into the PvP analysis of this video, though, we need to talk about Conkeldurr in raid battles, and no, Brutal Swing isn't going to be a move that you want to use for raid battles. You want to stick with Counter and Dynamic Punch. That's going to be your optimal moveset, Counter being the fast move, Dynamic Punch being the charge move. Now, with that being said, though, ever since Terrakion got access to Double Kick, this really brought down some of the other fighting type attackers in the game, and when I say Terrakion is miles above the rest of its competitors, trust me, it really is. This even includes Shadow variants like Shadow Machamp as well. Now, keeping that in mind, Conkeldurr is still going to be an amazing fighting type attacker to add to your raid teams, especially if you don't have Pokemon like Terrakion. Its ER is on par with Lucario, so Counter and Aura Spear is going to be the ideal moveset on Lucario, and Conkeldurr and Lucario are pretty much tied. Like, I think Conkeldurr is slightly worse. Like, Lucario's DPS is better, but Conkeldurr's TDO is better, so we take the combination of those two, they're pretty much on point, so you kind of have to take your pick there. But overall, guys, like, Conkeldurr used to be one of the top fighting type attackers to power up in the game before Shadow Machamp and before Terrakion got access to Double Kick, so this thing is a beast, and the fact that we're going to have a comm day for it with trade evolutions, yeah, this is just phenomenal. So overall, like, this is going to be a great time for most players, in my opinion, to grab some high-level Timburr and evolve them into Conkeldurr to add to their fighting type teams. Now, with raids out of the way, let's go ahead and circle back over to PvP, and again, I did run the simulations for each of the leagues, and I rarely go over every single league, but in Conkeldurr's case, it actually has relevance in all 3 open leagues, so Great League, Ultra League, and Master League, and the comparison that we're about to do is going to be between Stone Edge with the ideal PvP IVs versus Brutal Swing, again with the ideal PvP IVs, in a 1 versus 1 shield scenario. So let's go ahead and run through the Great League Open right now. So Azumarill and Bastiodon, nothing really changes there. Conkeldurr with Brutal Swing, though, does take the matchup against Carbink, and Carbink is one of the top Pokemon to use in Great League right now, so that one's actually a very noticeable difference. The next one that we're going to point out is going to be against Dugong, so this one is a double legacy Pokemon, and again, Brutal Swing kind of taking the advantage there. Diggersby, not too much of a difference. Frostlass, Conkeldurr does take a noticeable difference with Brutal Swing, so again, Stone Edge not really having as much play in the Great League so far as what we're seeing. Another Pokemon right here that Conkeldurr takes with Brutal Swing where it wouldn't with Stone Edge is going to be Lantern. Lickitung as well is also a really key matchup difference here because Lickitung is a really tough Pokemon to go up against. It's an extra large Pokemon that is ranked as one of the best investments in my opinion. It's just been really solid like for the past few seasons, so the fact that Conkeldurr has that win with Brutal Swing is very nice to see. Now we finally have a Pokemon where Conkeldurr with Stone Edge has the advantage over Brutal Swing, and that's going to be against Mandibuzz. It barely loses against Mandibuzz with Brutal Swing, but Conkeldurr with Stone Edge definitely takes a clean win right there. The next noticeable matchup that we have is going to be against Alolan Ninetales as well as Noctowl with Brutal Swing. Now if we keep going forward, we don't have too many more noticeable wins here, but the next one is going to be against Galarian Stunfisk, which in my my opinion is a pretty big one. Same thing with Swampert, although it does lose to Shadow Swampert in both scenarios, but you can see here that Brutal Swing is definitely a massive improvement for Conkeldurr in the Great League. I mean, it's probably won like what, at least 7 or 8 matchups where it would have lost with Stone Edge before, so it's really nice to see. Trevenant, another really big one right there, so that was actually pretty cool to see, and I believe that's actually it. Now if we take a look at the average here, we can see that with Stone Edge it has 11 wins and 30 losses, and then with Brutal Swing it's going to have 21 wins and 20 losses. So all around, guys, Brutal Swing on Conkeldurr for the Great League is going to be a massive improvement, and I would highly recommend building one. Next up, let's take a look at the Open Ultra League, and our first noticeable win is going to be against Cobalion with Brutal Swing, so that's really cool to see. If we keep scrolling through, we don't have anything too noticeable until we get to Dubwool. Not a Pokemon that I actually have seen very often. Escavalier is a Pokemon that I do see more often though, so getting that win with Brutal Swing is nice to see as well. Again, we don't have too many wins with Stone Edge opposed to Brutal Swing from what I'm seeing so far. Golisopod is actually the first one with Stone Edge that we see take the win over Brutal Swing. If we keep going though, the next win is going to be against Guzzlord with Brutal Swing. That one does make sense. Brutal Swing in the Great League and the Open Ultra League, it's looking a lot better. Even the averages, right? So 20 wins, 29 losses with Stone Edge, 24 wins, 25 losses with Brutal Swing. That is pretty good to see. Now finally, let's take a look at the Open Master League. I'm pretty sure this is where we're going to see Stone Edge actually take some more noticeable wins. Alright, so let's scroll through this right now. Yeah, so the first one's going to be against Gyarados, the next one's going to be against Ho-Oh, Landorus, Incarnate. Those are all pretty important, although one thing I do want to highlight here is going to be Kyogre with Brutal Swing, because that is really close. Like, that's a close loss right there, so that could be flipped if you actually get one fast move ahead of your opponent, in my opinion. So Metagross is going to be a +1 for Brutal Swing right there. Reshiram as well, also Brutal Swing takes the advantage over Stone Edge. And then finally we have Zekrom as well, Brutal Swing taking that matchup. Although if we take a look at the average here, 16 wins, 20 losses, 16 wins, 20 losses. They are exactly the same, but if we look at the overall average, Conkeldurr with Brutal Swing is going to do better all around. So after looking through all of the data, Conkeldurr with Stone Edge really only has a bit more play in the Master League, and even then that's kind of debatable if you want to run it. If you're going to run Conkeldurr in the Open Great League or the Open Ultra League, then, you know, going Brutal Swing pretty much just makes the most sense. You don't have to build 2 Conkeldurr for this. But for the Master League, I would say depending on, you know, how much you focus on that league, it might be worth it. So basically, in conclusion, this Calm Day is shaping up to be another banger all around, in my opinion. Like, not only are we going to get an amazing bonus of 3 times Catch Stardust, but Conkeldurr is going to be an amazing addition for most players' fighting type raid teams, as well as their PvP raid teams. I said PvP raid teams, I meant PvP teams in the Open Great League, Open Ultra League, and Open Master League with Brutal Swing. Now I will say, for anybody that wants to build Conkeldurr for raid battles, I would actually wait to evolve them until after the event. This way you don't have to actually waste more TMs than you need to, because you're going to get Brutal Swing, right? But then you're just going to have to TM it to Dynamic Punch. If you evolve it after the event, you have a chance of actually rolling Dynamic Punch instead, because it's not going to be guaranteed Brutal Swing. So that's what I would do personally, and another strategy that I would also implement is going to be to catch and evolve your highest Timburr with good IVs, and this is going to help you create a battle-ready team of fighting type attackers with a minimal Stardust investment. Not to mention, I would also recommend finding a trade partner for this event. Like, highly emphasize doing this, because Conkeldurr is one of the few Pokemon that does benefit from that trade evolution discount. And then finally, given that Conkeldurr is going to have play in the Master League as well, this also means you can get dual functionality if you decide to power up one to level 50. Once again, the ideal moveset is going to be Counter plus Dynamic Punch for raid battles, and then you're also going to have Brutal Swing on there as well for PvP. And with that being said, that pretty much covers everything in regards to Conkeldurr, but as always, I like to go through some additional tips and tricks for any new or returning players watching this video, so let's run through those right now. So the first and most important trick, in my opinion, is going to be the Fast Catch trick. Most of you guys probably already know how to use this, but for any newer players watching this, I highly recommend learning it to increase your catching speed. Links are going to be in the description down below. Second thing is going to be to create a search tag for all of the Timburr that you want to evolve into Conkeldurr during this event. You can quickly check for good IVs and hundos by typing in the 3-star and 4-star. The next thing is going to be which Mega Evolution you want to have active during this Calm Day for bonus candy. So Timburr is going to be a fighting type Pokemon exclusively, which means you can either run Blaziken, Medicham, or Lopunny, whichever one of these you have at level 3 or your highest mega level, prioritize that one over the others for increased candy and extra large candy. Like, I cannot stress this enough, mega level 3 is a massive game changer. Let's go ahead and talk about storage space next. So generally I recommend a minimum of 100 and ideally 250 plus open spots. If you guys are having trouble kind of going through your storage and even getting down to 100, then I'm going to recommend my full guide video. Once again, link is going to be in the description down below. Next, let's talk about bag space. So a combination of red, great, and ultra balls. A minimum of 200 is recommended going into this comm day, and ideally 500 plus would be the best way to go about things. Now I do also want to mention pineapple berries as well, because Conkeldurr is going to be a 200 candy evolution. Evolving from Timburr to Girder is going to be 50 candy, so 250 candy in total if you can't actually get that trade evolution. If you get the trade evolution, that's only 50 candy, but again, if you catch like a hundo or something like really good IVs, like 90% IV plus, then you're going to want to just evolve that Conkeldurr right there. So, you know, having more pineapple berries ready for this comm day is probably going to be more to your benefit. And then finally, the last tip is going to be regarding the picnicker medal. So what I would recommend doing is dropping lure modules at your most popular grind spot right when the event starts. And basically the way that this works is that you get 1 point every single time somebody else catches a Pokemon off your lure module. And in the right location, you can make some amazing progress towards this medal, especially since your lure modules are going to last 3 hours long. But with that being said, that's basically everything that I have for you guys in this one. If you're still looking for some more content, I'm going to recommend these 2 videos right here. But before you go, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you all real soon in the next one.